Today on the weekly anime update, Mob Psycho 100 showcases one of the best animated fight scenes in recent memory, the shield hero gets a chocobo, and the Promised Neverland brings forth a daring twist. Without further ado, let's talk about anime. Hey, how's it going everyone? Fuminsho here, back at it once again with another weekly anime update. First we're going to be talking about Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, then we're going to dip into Shield Hero, and then I caught up on it finally, The Promised Neverland. I'm really looking forward to talking about that one, but we're going to go into airing date, the chronological order of things, and first it's Mob Psycho, and I reacted to this episode. This episode was it was that type of episode. It was one of those episodes, and I had to bring out the camera and just watch this thing with you guys because it was glorious. It truly was. Now, I talked a lot about how good the animation is and how good just the direction is a lot in that video. You can watch that if you'd like. You can see how emotional I get towards those kinds of things. But the context of it all is something I didn't necessarily speak much about in that video. The context is what really matters in this episode, because it's not just ridiculously good animation and incredible direction. It's not just those things. It's what those things mean to our characters and the story moving forward. Now, I was scared going into Mob Psycho. In the very beginning, I was scared going into this series because I thought it was going to be a series that kind of falls into a trope that a lot of series do, and that's kind of character gimmicks. Having a character have this gimmick and then just running with it, sticking with it throughout the entire series run, but Mob Psycho does not do that. Mob himself is an ever-changing character. He's a growing character. Things are happening and they're affecting him, and then he changes his outlook on life itself, and that's just insane. That's not something that we get in a lot of anime series, especially something as flashy and as colorful and as quirky and fun as Mob Psycho. I think this episode kind of showed me that Mob can get a little deep and become a little more meaningful. Now, things have always been kind of meaningful towards Mob, especially in the second season when, we're talking about his girlfriend and what's going on there. That episode specifically really kind of brought in the emotions and made me feel towards this character. But now it's not just that. There's more. Now we know that this is going to be a theme growing throughout the series, that Mob is going to be changing, and I really like that. I really, really like that. And Reigen as well, being in that scene and putting his faith in Mob and coming out, Mob coming out of his body, and then Reigen just, I don't know, looking up to him in a way. That is something that's kind of flip-flopped, I guess, and I really, really like that. I think people are starting to realize how powerful Mob really is, and they're starting to put their faith in him, and they're starting to back him up a little more, and that's something really great. There's a couple of other things I want to talk about in this episode. Number one was the Claw guy, him capturing the ghost before he escaped or whatever, capturing the evil spirit before he escaped. That was really interesting. To me, that really set up maybe an ending arc. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not familiar with the source material. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I've seen it, but I'm not caught up on that, and I don't know what's happening. So I'm definitely scratching at my head there, and I'm also really excited. I think that's something that was kind of needed. We need some kind of overarching, something we can hold on to, When last week's episode ended, I felt really happy that we were going to get a continuing episode. It's not just, a sort of spirit of the week type of thing. The episode's going to continue. We're getting kind of an arc, and that arc is over already, and that's how Mob does things. I hope that sprinkled in is this sort of overarching story going forward, because we're about halfway through the series run. If this series is 12 episodes, I believe it is, or is it might be 13. I'm not 100% sure. You can fact check me on that, but I'm feeling relieved that there's going to be something to hold on to throughout the series, and hopefully in the grand scheme of things, it all pays off and does have a satisfying ending. Now, I believe, I bet if you talk to a fan of one's work, the actual webcomic, they know where this season is going to end. Because that manga, that webcomic is over. It's been over for a while now, and I don't know if this anime series is planning on fully adapting one's work, or are we going to leave room for a season 3? Now, of course, I want more Mob Psycho 100. Of course, I want to see a season 3, but I'm okay with it ending here. I am okay with them capping it off with a finale. That would be something really special. And again, I have no idea how this series ends. I can't even begin to think of what's going to happen later on, especially with stuff that they were alluding to during that huge, incredible fight scene. You know, him with the weird question mark. That's not the first time we've seen that, but the weird question mark transformation thing. I feel like we are going to see that again. That's going to be something that will reoccur, and I love that. I really do, and I think that definitely has something to do with endgame kind of stuff. And all in all, you know, I mentioned it in the reaction. I don't have much more to add to it. This was a fantastic episode. It brought me to tears at one point, and the animation of the girl, you know, when he got out of her body, and the way she reacted to that, and he was like, this is who you really were, and she just kind of broke down, and the animation on her face, my goodness bones. That had to be like 700 frames of animation. Like, it was just so powerful and so well done. Just the expressions and just everything was just so well done in that episode. I know next week isn't going to be on that caliber, but I am really just sold throughout the series. I've been sold since season 1, since episode 1, honestly, but it just keeps giving me reasons to come back, and that's what a series needs to do. That's what a good series does, and Mob Psycho's perfecting it. It really is probably the best show this season, but there's a couple of others that might, you know, kind of get in the way of that, and we're going to be talking about those in just a bit. Next up, we're talking about Shield Hero. Now, full disclosure, I actually just finished watching this episode, and I really liked it. I really did. The episode begins, and we start seeing that the king can't get away with it all. You know, he can't. Everyone's just been a jerk to Naofumi. Everyone's just been crapping on him since the beginning of the series, and we're starting to see that turn. And that's kind of what I was dipping into with the Mob Psycho thing as well. It's not just going to be a trope throughout the series where it's just like unrealistic. Like, come on, like, why are we still crapping on this guy? He's saved so many people. Like, why are we still doing this? And we're starting to see that kind of turn around a little bit, and that I really like. The race with the spear hero was awesome. Was absolutely awesome. The whole, it's a chocobo. Like, let's get real. That is an absolute chocobo if I've ever seen one. And that race itself reminded me of a chocobo race. It reminded me of Final Fantasy 15. It brought back Final Fantasy 7 stuff. Even the spells that the spear hero was cheating with, or whatever, her guard or whatever, those knights they were cheating with, those were straight up Final Fantasy spells. And it just, I love the slowdown. Like, I've seen that recently in Final Fantasy, and I love that so much. I love this kind of, this world. It truly does feel like an RPG. You know, watching ReZero and even watching Sword Art Online, I wasn't really getting the Sword Art Online like too much. It felt too gamey. It felt too like, oh, there's levels, and it just felt a little silly to me. And ReZero, it's not even like a game or whatever, but this, it really does feel like a modern JRPG that would come out today. And that's really, really cool. I really like that there's that kind of relatability within the world itself. You could tell that the author of this series definitely is a fan of Final Fantasy, and definitely is a fan of other, probably Dragon Quest and other big JRPGs, because those vibes just carry through so well. And I don't know what's gonna happen here. Filo, this bird character, is a girl. I guess he's getting, I mean, we knew this going in, obviously. As soon as we saw the egg, as soon as I saw the egg, I was like, oh, okay, so that's going to turn into what we see in the opening, this weird bird girl kicking thing. And that's cool. Sure, I think that's kind of silly. I kind of wanted it just to stay a bird companion, this chocobo character. I would actually like that a bit more, because now it's getting a little tropey, you know. That's something that we see in a lot of anime series, you know, multiple girls hanging around the unlikely hero. But I like it. I mean, let's get real, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Something else I want to note here is, sort of throughout the episode, raphtalia kind of showcases feelings towards Naofumi, and I'm curious where that is going. We see that she kind of shows signs of jealousy and kind of shows signs of like trying to like show off in front of him in a way, and that's really nice, because it's being done in such a subtle way. It's being written very, very well. It's not on the nose. It's kind of like, if you really pay attention, you can see it, and it kind of connects to what they've done with the character previously in the last week's episode. So I really like that. I really do. It's cute, it's sweet. This whole episode was just really sweet. It was really feel good. Now there's big things happening, obviously. There's kind of a lot of action in this episode, a lot of running, but I definitely felt like just vibes. And again, that carries over to what I was saying earlier about just JRPG stuff. It just feels like I'm in this town and I care about these people, and I want them to have I want happy morality here. I want them to be okay, and I want to leave this village with them being safe. And it just felt like a side quest. It felt like such a good side quest, and I really have to credit the author there. I think that is just really, really well done. I really, really like that. I like knowing that this is going to be that kind of series, that I'm gonna fall in love with these specific kinds of little story arcs and these character moments. I'm excited for next week's episode. I don't know if we're getting into the wave just yet. I think there might be one more episode of kind of the growing pains of Filo and how she's going to react around raphtalia. I'm curious how raphtalia is going to react around Filo. I'm curious how that relationship is going to work. Are they going to be like fighting for Naofumi's affection? I hope not. I hope that's not a direction this series goes into, because that is something that I don't like. At least not in a... If they do it subtly, I can get behind it, but if it's something that's kind of like a forefront, I'm not gonna dig that, and I'm just crossing my fingers. I am, that's not something that happens. But mainly I'm just really digging sort of the growth of our main character. It's sort of his personality changes and how he's going about his life, and I really like the connection between him and raphtalia. We're seeing that continue, and her actually putting the seal back on her just to show her trust there. That was really cool, and that builds towards her character. There's lots of gears. I say this in a lot of videos. There's lots of gears interlocking and moving at a very smooth pace. This was one of those kinds of episodes where everything was just kind of working together to make us viewers realize that this is a show that's big, and it's going to tell a big story, and there's going to be lots of characters involved, including chocobo waifus. Like, that's going to be something that's it's believable now, because they've built all this stuff around it, and they've built these characters around it, and I really like that. I think Shield Hero, I keep underestimating it. I keep thinking like, okay, let's watch another episode. Let's see how they ruin this. And they haven't yet. It feels still fresh. It still feels really entertaining, and I'm just really enjoying it. It's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, all of these that I'm talking about today are probably my favorites of the season, but Shield Hero, for some, I don't know, like, I leave each episode wanting more and feeling good about what I just watched. Like, I feel healthy, and it kind of just adds to a good day. It just feels nice after finishing an episode, and it might be my favorite. I don't know. I really don't. It's really hard. I don't really think this is a necessary conversation to have. What's the best series of the season? That doesn't really matter to me. They're all pretty great, or at least the ones I'm talking about are all pretty great. But Shield Hero is definitely... It's standing pretty high, for sure. Next up, we're talking about the big one. Promised Neverland is a series. I watched the first episode when it first aired, and I adored it. I really did, but I kind of got, again, sidetracked. I mentioned this last week. I got sidetracked, and I wasn't able to keep up with the series. I believe on Thursday night, if I recall correctly, I binged the rest of the series. There's 5 episodes out now, and my goodness, my goodness. I've heard a lot of people sort of compare this series, the manga itself, to Death Note. And I never really understood what they were talking about. I never got a Death Note vibe from watching that first episode. I'm like, Death Note? I mean, I guess, maybe it's a shonen that's not action heavy. That's not like a super power-up shonen or whatever you want to call it. It's I'm not sure why you would call it Death Note. I know now. I realize why people have been saying that, because of the brains of this story, the brains of the series, these characters, Ray and Norman, sort of their clashing heads in this episode. I mean, last week's episode 4, was just stupid good. It was so good, that sort of cliffhanger there, Ray being the traitor, and then having it pay off so well. Having it pay off so well, I think is what makes that cliffhanger great, and what makes me look forward to next week's episode, because there's kind of a theme there. They're letting these big moments pay off so well with these cliffhangers. And just that conversation in that little dormitory room or whatever was brilliant. It was brilliantly written, and it was brilliantly directed. I just love how everything kind of gears, again, that's going to be the theme of this weekly anime update. Just gears moving in a finely manner. That's kind of the theme here. But that conversation was just awesome. Absolutely awesome. I love Rei a lot. And to be totally honest with you, as that conversation between them was going on, I was like, I don't know how I feel. I don't really like this. Rei's a bad dude, and then he's kind of not a bad dude. He's such an interesting character, and you can't quite put your finger on him right away. He's not that kind of character. He's like, he keeps you guessing, and that's what the series does. The whole series itself keeps you guessing with its twists and turns, and how Crone, good God, Crone is scary. Crone is a scary, scary woman, and I really, really love that. I love how she's this force. The tag episode, again, I just binge watched the entire series, so I kind of want to talk about the entire series. The tag episode had me on the edge of my seat. Like, that was scary. Like, they were playing this game of tag, and you could tell the little kids and everyone was having fun, but like, between Emma, Rei, and Norman, like, that was serious. That was real, and I love that. I really did, and there was kind of like these undertones of it being serious towards them. And that was just, again, so well done. The stuff that they do with the just conversations and how they're directed, Cloverworks is doing really, really good there. I love the clock stuff that they do when the clock goes back and forth. The sort of viewpoint moves back and forth as well. That's just super original. I don't think I've seen that done before in any medium. Also, the POV stuff, when we're literally in first person in a character, literally going down a hall, upstairs, down another hall, and then opening a door. Are you kidding me? Like, that is just ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that, and the backgrounds themselves look so good. Like, it's just weird seeing things from an anime character's point of view. Like, this is the world that they see. It's not 2D, it's 3D, and that's so wacky, and it's so fun, and it's just, it makes the world more believable. It makes it more than just drawings on a screen, than just a flat image. I really have grown towards CG in the last few years. I feel like last year especially made me kind of understand its purpose, and to me, CG is a tool that needs to be used correctly, and I think that Cloverworks is using it correctly here. I don't like it when CG, like, why is that CG? Like, you could tell they were just cutting costs and cutting workload time with CG sometimes, even though I'm not sure what the comparison is there in terms of time, but like, when you see just something that could have easily been hand-drawn, like a vehicle, it's kind of, I don't know if I need that. But when you see characters moving about a 3D space, that's really, really cool. That is awesome. I absolutely love that, and I hope that's the direction that we keep moving forward with in terms of CG and anime. And I hope that this series continues to do that as well, because it just makes the world, like, I feel like I know this space now. I feel like I know that house, this manor that they're all encapsulated in. I feel like I understand sort of the floor plan here. I think they even show a map at one point when they're pointing out the room that mom has, where there's a secret passage or whatever. Like, there's this kind of map, and you start understanding, like, oh, that's where the stairs were that we went up with when we were in the POV mode, and then we went around here. Okay, so that's the dormitory there. Like, that kind of stuff adds so much to the series. It makes it feel, again, so believable, and God, I just love it so much. The episode ends with another stupendous cliffhanger that I can't get enough of. I really can't. Like, binging it was so much fun, because, like, at the end, it was late at night, too. At the end of each episode, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that next one. Like, it was just that over and over again for, like, 4 times. And I think that is a testament to how good the series is and how well it's written. And I think that kind of dips into the manga as well. The sort of turn page factor. Like, when there's something great happening on one page, you want to turn the next page and see what's happening and how whatever happened on that page was resolved in this page. And that goes into not only composition, writing, and direction. It's just everything that an animation studio does is being done right with Cloverworks. I think out of every series right now, I think that Promised Neverland is the finest directed. Because it's different. It's different than what I've seen previously. Now, Mob Psycho is great, but it kind of showcases that direction in different ways, and it's definitely They experiment with stuff. Bones definitely does, but we've seen it before in Mob Psycho 1, the first season. this is just so fresh and new, and you know, POV shots and showing maps and weird camera angles, the clock stuff that they've been doing, like it all falls in theme, and it all just works so well with the series. I love it. I can't express that enough. I really love Promised Neverland, and you know, I'm not even gonna make this argument again. I don't know what my favorite is. I really don't, because one week it's this and the next week it's that. Right now, it's Promised Neverland. Right now, it is definitely Promised Neverland. I adored this week's episode, and again, cannot wait for next. So that's it from me today. I talked about Mob Psycho 100 and how great that animation was, the Shield Hero, just how feel good it all is, and the Promised Neverland, the direction, my goodness. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you much for sort of just your support. It means a lot. It truly does. Your viewership and all the likes and all the comments. Definitely, I'm gonna try harder to comment down below and reply to you guys and talk more about these series. I'm curious what you think of a lot of these things. No spoilers, please, because I feel like a lot of these series are very spoiler heavy type of series that are easy to kind of spoil. So I don't want to know anything. If I see just the slightest hint of a spoiler, I'm out. I'm dipping. That comment's getting deleted probably. Just thank you very much, and look forward to next week where I talk about more series. I think it's just going to be these 3. Again, Dororo is fantastic. I don't know, like I can't decide. 4 I feel like would be too much. Maybe I'll alternate one. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think I should alternate, or do you think 4 is okay to talk about? It's very fun talking about it. I'm not gonna lie. It's just chill. It just feels nice, you know, kind of touching base with a lot of the stuff that I've been watching throughout the week. And I want to touch base with you guys. You know, I want you guys to comment below and give me your thoughts on sort of everything you watched. It doesn't even have to be stuff I've talked about. What have you watched this week that sort of stood out for you, or something that I should check out? I apologize that my voice is screwed up right now. I've had a cold for quite some time. I've been kind of just like struggling throughout this video, trying to talk clearly and not sound like super stuffed up. But thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for getting to the end of the video. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.